Who's going to make sure that everyone on your team is making profits? Who's going to do it if you do everything? So it's not all on you. You got to get rid of that lie. And that was one of the biggest lies I had to get rid of. You know why? Because what I noticed was that if my business, right, wasn't ran by me at all time, like if I wasn't there, if my hand wasn't there, then the business wouldn't run. The moment I took my hand off of my organization, it fell apart. So what I had to do was I had to find other leaders. I had to develop other leaders, okay? Build those relationships with them. Teach them the skills. Increase that belief in them so that what? Guess what? They know that if I ever needed to take a step back, they can do the trainings. They can run the business. They can make sure that other people in the organization are running the way that it's supposed to run. So that's very, very important. And get rid of that lie. It's not all on you. It's on your team. And because your team wins, everybody wins. Remember, team, TEAM, stands for together, everyone achieves more. Team is everything, all right? So that's number 4, which is all on me. That lie we have to get rid of. And then the last and final lie that we tell ourselves as leaders is that things are always going to be this way. Things are always going to be this way. Trust me, guys, I can't tell you how many times, I told this lie to myself, man, this sucks. Things are always going to be this way. And that's emotional funks that we go into because, not at all times in business is it going to be is it uphill, right? A lot of us, we want it to be always going up, 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 up. But sometimes we face a lot of times in the business where it's down, 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 down. And in this entrepreneurship journey, it's like a roller coaster. You could be up one day, down the next day. You could be up for a few weeks and then be down for a few weeks. We call it the seasons, right? There's times it's winter. The winters is when it's cold, it's tough. You can't seem to figure it out. You can't seem to enroll nobody. The business isn't growing, right? Then we have the springs. Okay, after winter comes spring. This is when you start to plant the seeds. This is when, things are starting to move around a little bit. You're starting to find new leaders, the whole stuff, right? The summer, what's the summer for? The summer is for growth. This is where the growth starts to happen. This is where new leaders, this is where momentum in your organization starts to come in and the whole nine. And then the fall is for the harvest. Right, the fall is for the harvest. This is when you get to reap the harvest of all the work you put in for the last 90 days, for the last 6 months, and this is super important. So everything happens for a reason, and no season lasts forever. All right, every wave must crash, and momentum comes in waves, and that's something you got to understand. All right, so this is super, super important. And what determines your success in life is who can build after the hype. All right. Who can build after the wave crashes? Who can build when everything has to go right back to the beginning? This is super important. And I inspire you that with how hard you work, with how hard you work, you break the chains that are holding you back. Break the change that you are searching for. Because you see, the problem is because you tell yourself these lies, you start to believe these lies. And think about it. Think about the lie you're telling yourself. Things are always going to be this way. But things aren't always going to be that way. Because if you're looking for change, you don't want things to stay the same. Imagine telling yourself this when you're broke and you have nothing going your way. Imagine telling yourself that to the point where you believe it. You tell yourself enough, things are always going to be this way. And at the moment, you're broke. Your financial situation sucks. Your relationship with your significant other is not at the best place. Imagine continuously telling yourself this. That's the reality you're going to create for yourself. So understand, fam, the things are not always going to be this way. It's up to you to change those things. Okay, it's up to you. All right? Always move forward. Things are going to be the way that you design them to be. They're not always going to be the way they are. They're going to be the way that you design them to be. You create your own reality. You create the success that's happening in your life. The same way you created the results that you currently have in your life right now. Take a look around. Take a look at your financial situation right now. Take a look at the relationships in your business right now. Take a look at the job. Take a look at the house you live in. Take a look at the car you're driving right now. You created that. You created that reality right now. Now, the same way you created that reality, and listen, I know some of you guys might not be like, man, but no, this is not the reality that I want. But look, it's the is the reality that you created. Embrace it because you created it, regardless of anything. No one else did. All right. But now what you got to do is you got to change your focus. All right. And when you change your focus and you focus on abundance, you focus on prosperity, you focus on opulence, massive, massive success, then guess what can happen for you, fam? Now you can create a better reality for yourself that's based on basically riches, wealth, and just massive, massive amounts of success. So as a leader, don't tell yourself these 5 lies. Number one is, I'm not good enough. That's a lie I don't ever want to hear you tell yourself. You are good enough. Number two, if people really knew, hey, I know if people really knew, but look, remember, we can't heal what we hide. So stop hiding the challenges and the demons you're facing inside. Put them out there. And I'm not saying put them out there on Instagram and to the world. Put them out there to a friend and to someone that you feel like can guide you, that has probably faced the same challenges and the same demons that you had, and see how we can heal those. All right. Number three is, I deserve more credit. Remember, it's not about you, it's about the team. Okay. And if you want more credit, give more credit. Number four, it's all on me. It's not all on you, it's on the team. Remember, together, everyone achieves more. And number five, things are always going to be this way. It's not always going to be that way. It's going to be the way that you design it to be. And when you design it to be the way that you want it to, then that's when you will create the perfect and beautiful life that you've always envisioned yourself to live. All right, guys? So don't tell yourself these lies. Tell yourself the complete opposite. Believe in yourself, believe in different truths, and remember that the truth will set you free. All right, guys. So that's that episode for today, guys. I hope you guys are truly, truly enjoying season 2 of Mornings with Nano. Promise you, I'm coming with more and more fire here in the next few weeks. All right, guys. So with that being said, I will see you guys at the top, because the bottom way too crowded. Thank you for listening to Mornings with Nano. I would really appreciate it if you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and leave a comment below on how Mornings with Nano has brought value to your life. Also, I would really appreciate if you guys follow me on Instagram at Long Live Nano, Neno.
All right, guys, let's get started with today's call. I am excited. I am blessed. Here we are. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Grand Rising family. Hope everybody is having a blessed morning. I hope everybody is feeling good. And I hope everybody is just in a good state of vibration. I know that we all know that everything works in our favor. Everything we touch turns to gold, right? We expect miracles and we get miracles. And we are just in such a beautiful moment right now. I'm currently calling in from Atlanta, Georgia, as I'm on my tour right now. We started our tour up in New York. I went down to Richmond, Virginia, and now we are in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm so excited to be here. Love Atlanta. It's always a good time for us to plug in and just put ourselves in a good position to win, to elevate. And I want to tell you guys something real quick. I want to catch you guys up on a quick story, a testimony actually. Yesterday, I arrived here in Atlanta. Yo, Bobo, you in Atlanta? Let me know if you're in Atlanta, because I got to pull up on you if you out here. But I wanted to catch you guys up on something because, one of our students here within Mornings with Nano, the community, he was from Atlanta. Haven't been in Atlanta actually in a couple of years, to be real. Maybe like a year or two for real. But one of the top students, very quiet, but doesn't really talk much. I hit him up and I'm like, yo, bro, what's up? I'm in Atlanta. I'm coming out. Let's have dinner. And like, I knew of him, but I didn't really know. You know, when you know somebody because you text, you see him on Mornings with Nano, but you didn't really know. So I come to Atlanta and yesterday we have dinner. And I realized that, this individual has been able to create an incredible amount of success for himself. I'm so grateful. And he tells me the story about how he got plugged in to the Mornings with Nano community. And he starts telling me about how, yo, bro, I started to plug into Mornings with Nano when I was driving Uber. This was back in 2020, 2021. And Yeah, bro, I'm a Cobb and ATL right now. I'll catch you on the next one for sure. So, he tells me like, yo, bro, I was plugged in on Mornings with Nano 2020, 2021, bro. And I was driving Uber at the time. I was broke. I was lost in life. I was smoking a lot. I was just not in the right state of mind. Today, 2025, he's a very successful business owner. He's making over 500K a year. He's traveling, he's helping his family, he's taking his families on vacation, and his whole life changed. And as he's sharing his testimony with me, and I'm like, yo, what has been like the key component to your success? And you know what he told me? He said the visualization has been the key component to his success. He says, bro, I don't read every day. I don't journal every day. I still do my thing here and there. I jump on the calls every chance I get. But one thing I never stopped doing was that 10-minute visualization that you taught us, bro. That visualization has been the key to everything, bro. Everything I ever visualized during that visualization, from the car that I have today, where I live, the money I'm making, the way my business is thriving, everything is because of that visualization, bro. And it put a lot of things into perspective for me, because it made me realize, I'm like, yo, like if sometimes people could just stay consistent with just one thing, it could change everything for somebody, right? He stayed consistent with that one thing, which was that visualization, right? And then, he read his books, he did his journals, he wrote his goals down, he went to the gym, he basically applied the full morning routine. And then he applied that into his business. And today, like I said, he did everything, like everything that I teach you guys to do on these calls. He did the visualizations, he read the books. All right. He wrote his goals down. He got in the gym. And remember, when he started doing this in 2020, 2021, he was broke. He was driving Uber. He was lost. He was confused. He was smoking a ton of weed. 2025 today, he no longer smokes weed. He barely drinks alcohol. All right. His business is earning him over 500K a year. He's on his way to make his first 7 figures. All right. He drives his dream car. He takes his family on vacations where he pays for everything. All right. And he covers every single bill, maids in the house, chefs at the house. Like, we're talking about an incredible amount of success. And he did that in the last 4 years. And I wanted to share that testimony with you guys, because I want you guys to see that if you are willing to apply the simple things that I teach you guys. Said, bro, I just did what you told me every day. I went to the gym. I did the visualizations. I read the books that you recommended. I wrote my goals down, and I grew my relationship with God. Now, look at the life that he's living. Absolutely changed everything for him, bro. And I wanted to share that with you guys, because I wanted to let you guys know, like, yo, some of us are in that same exact position that he was in 4 years ago. Some of us are on our way to do even more, but it just goes to show, like, if you're willing to invest into yourself, and if you're willing to put the time in to grow yourself each and every single day, your whole life can change. Like, I'm so serious. Another individual, another testimony. I was with my brother. He's on this call right now, Michael Howard. He's out in Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Another great example of somebody who, has been plugged in with me for, 3 or 4 years. And he told me, yo, Nano, a couple years ago, bro, like, I was broke. Like, I didn't have no direction in life. I was lost. I didn't know what's next. But I started jumping on your calls. I started doing the visualizations. I started reading the books. I started journaling. I started getting in the gym. And guess what? He started doing those things. And by law today, my brother Michael Howard is a very successful construction manager, right? Changing his life, making tons of money. Literally, while I was with him in Richmond, Virginia, he closed a $12,000 deal in front of me, in my face. Like, look, bro, I just closed for 12,000. And I'm like, yo, this is working for people all around. The people that plug into these calls, he's showing me his crypto portfolio. His crypto portfolio is hitting 5 figures already, and it's growing every single day. So why do I share this with all of you guys? Because there's people that are on these calls, on Mornings with Nano, that are applying this information and they're changing their lives. But here's the thing, they're doing it consistently. That's the key. We talked about this a couple of days ago. The people that are able to do these things consistently, because it really shifts you, it really changes you, it really helps you become a better version of you if you do it every single day. And guess what? The two testimonies I just gave you guys, I met one of them. I met Michael for the first time in Richmond, and I met my other boy. He calls himself Lucky out here in Atlanta for the first time. Like, we have known each other from Instagram and we have supported each other, but I met them for the first time and I actually got a chance to talk to them and get to know them and really understand where were they and where they are now. And like, I'm mind blown because I'm like, yo, these guys were able to take simple little things that I taught on mornings when I know that I teach every day on these calls. They were able to take these little simple strategies and techniques that I teach, and they were able to make the best out of them. And I share that with you guys, not to impress you guys, all right? It's to impress upon you that you guys can do the exact same thing on these calls. You guys can do the exact same things on these calls. There's so many more success stories that are going to come from these calls. But remember, I can't do the work for you. I can give you the strategies, I can give you the keys, I can give you the terminologies, but I'm not going to be able to do the work for you. Michael Howard did the work. My brother Lucky out here in Atlanta, he did the work. These people did the work. Consistently is the key word. They did it consistently. Michael Howard's been plugged in with me. You could correct me if I'm wrong, bro, for at least 4 years now. You know, my brother Lucky's been plugged in with me now for about 5 years. But look, not only was it consistently, but it was also time, which is what I always talk about. It's about staying consistent over time. And my brother Lucky yesterday, he told me something that really touched me. He said, bro, I want you to know that you changed my life, but I want you to know that you're changing the world as well. He said, I don't know if people tell you that enough, but bro, you changed my life, which means you changed my family's life. Like, you know, I'm able to take my family on vacations. I pay for everything, chefs, maids, everything included, B&Bs on the beach. A lot of that was because you taught me these things. You taught me these strategies. The reason why my business is successful today and the reason I have the emotional intelligence I have today is because of the things that you taught me on Mornings with Nano. The books that I have access to, the wisdom, the knowledge is all because of these calls. So I don't like to take much. I don't like to take any credit for it. I know I played just a small piece in their journey. They did the work at the end of the day. I give all the glory to God at the end of the day. You know, that's God's work. Yes, I'm grateful that I get a chance to play just a small piece in their story, which is incredible, right? And in any of y'all stories. But I want you guys to know that every single one of you guys can be extremely successful if you are willing to stay consistent. That is the key. That is the key. Consistent over a long period of time. It could be a year, it could be 2 years, it could be 3 years, it could be 4 years, it could be, I don't know how many years. But you got to work on the consistency of it, of working on you. Everything else will fall into place. The business will fall into place. The doors will open. The people will show up in your life. The girl that you've been looking for, the man that you've been looking for, everything will fall into place if you make yourself a priority. All right, guys. So I just wanted to share that with you guys because it was on my heart this morning because I was just extremely grateful that I got a chance to meet my brother Michael for the first time, my brother Lucky here in Atlanta yesterday. And both of them just had so much gratitude in their heart for just the wisdom, the guidance that I've been able to provide them over the years and to see where they're at in their businesses, both of them earning multiple six figures on their way to make seven figures. So I'm sitting here and I'm just like, yo, this is incredible that I've been able to play a part in these individuals' journeys and they're on their way to make seven figures. They're changing their lives. They're helping their families. They're happy. They're excited. They're innovating. Like, it just feels good to know that there's people that are on these calls that are applying this information and it's changing it. But you know what that also does? It also gives us belief For the people that are on this call, that you may be where my boy Lucky was 4 years ago, sitting in an Uber trying to figure out what the next step was, right? You could be like Michael was a couple years ago, where he was still lost and confused and trying to figure himself out. And look at where he is today, closing big deals, making a lot of money. So if you're on this call and you needed some inspiration, let those two testimonials of these two incredible individuals that I've had the pleasure of meeting, the last couple of days, show you that, hey, even though you are where you are today, as long as you keep going, you're going to get there. You could be at the bottom right now. You could be on your way right now, or you could be already there. You're always on the way. Remember, we're never down. All right. You're never down. We're either on our way up or we're getting back up. And that's the key. All right. So just a quick testimony I wanted to share with you guys, because like I said, it was on my heart recently, and I wanted to make sure that you guys heard that, because it's a very powerful testimony. So with that being said, let's get into today's training, because today's training kind of goes into what I want to talk about, what I'm kind of talking about today, and kind of like what happens, which is the emotional cycle of change. All right. And whenever you start jumping on calls, whenever you start hearing this kind of information, what ends up happening is you're caused to change. Now, luckily, I was able to find an image for us, because I like to teach with pictures and reality, because in pictures, it helps so much more. Right. So I have a picture for us to learn from here today. Now, if you're on Instagram and you want to see the picture, come to YouTube. I'm actually live on YouTube. You could find me under the name Mornings with Nano, and you should be able to find it there. My name on YouTube also is Kevin Torres, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe Nano Torres. But you'll find it. You'll see it. You can't miss it. But these are the emotional cycles of change. Now, I want to teach you guys this, and this is a training that I do maybe like twice a year, because this is such a valuable training for all of us to become aware of. All right. And this is so key. Now, whenever you start anything new, you start at something called stage 1, which is called uninformed optimism, right here. Right? This is where we all start. Whenever you start something new, whether it's a new business, whether it's a new opportunity, whenever you start something new, you start uninformed and you're optimistic. Now, what does that mean, Nano? Uninformed optimistic. It means, let's say, for example, you start a new business, you start a new job, all right? You start a new routine. This happens a lot with routines as well. This happens a lot with routines. So whenever we start something new, we start uninformed optimism, which means we don't know much about it, but we're excited. All right. We don't know much about this business, but we want to do it. We're excited. It sounds amazing, right? We don't know too much about, this routine that Nano is talking about. It sounds good. I'm excited. Let's run this up. Everybody that starts any business, any opportunity, any endeavor, any job, for the most part, at the beginning of it, you're starting off at stage 1, which is uninformed optimism, which means you're excited about it, but you're not too informed on it. For example, when I started my network marketing business, when I started to learn how to trade, when I started to learn how to invest in crypto, I was uninformed optimistic. I'm like, yo, I don't know too much about trading. I don't know too much about network marketing. I don't know much about crypto, but I'm excited about this. This sounds cool. And I love this so, so much, right? They like to call this the honeymoon stage. This also relates to relationships as well. Think about when you jump into a relationship with somebody, the new person, right? You remember the beginning of it, the beginning of certain relationships where you hit it off with somebody and, you want to hang out with that person all day and you're on the phone with them 3 hours, 4 hours. You're not falling asleep. No, you hang up first. Now you hang up first. Like you're in that stage, that honeymoon stage. You guys ever been there? Put a 2 in the chat if you guys understand what I'm talking about real quick, right? You guys ever been there where you just like the person so much and it's the beginning of it. You're excited, like, yo, I like this guy, I like this girl, right? You want to hang out with them every day. You want to talk to them every single day, long hours on the phone, right? This is new. This is an emotional cycle of change, right? And this happens to us. And like I said, this is with everything in life, with business, with routines, with relationships. You're falling asleep on the phone, right, Wally? You know about that. I could tell. So I mean, I know about it too, so don't worry. But you know, it's we know about this. We understand. We've all been here. This is also known as the honeymoon stage, right? This is also known as the honeymoon stage, right? Because we're excited, right? We're excited about this new opportunity. We're excited about this new business. We're excited about this new routine, right? So we're excited about it. So that's stage two. Now, stage one is uninformed optimism. Now, what happens is time passes, right? Time passes, and eventually what ends up happening is you hit stage two, which is informed pessimism. All right. Informed pessimism is when you realize that this is not as easy as you once thought, right? When you realize, like, yo, this business is not going to be easy. This routine is not going to be easy. Yo, I thought waking up at 6 a.m. one day was, you know, I was excited first day. I was excited first week, but, you know, it's week two, it's week three, it's week four, it's week five. And you start to realize, like, man, this is not going to be as easy as I thought. You know, that girl that you was once in love with, that boy that you was in love with, now you're starting to see some of their flaws. You know, you're starting to realize, like, man, I don't know. You know, this guy does this, this girl does this. I don't know if I like this about this person, right? This business is requiring me to, you know, work long hours. I thought I was gonna be making money by this point now. So you get to this point where now you're informed, but you're also now getting a little bit pessimistic. Now, if we look up the definition of pessimism, right? Pessimism, right? Pessimism, by definition, on Google, it says tending to see the worst aspects of things or believe that the worst will happen. So it's just looking at things from a negative perspective, right? So when you hit this point is when you start to realize, like, man, you know, this business may not be as easy as I thought it was. This happened to me with my network marketing business. So I was extremely excited, right? I was excited to learn how to trade, excited to learn how to build a business. I was excited about it. But then a couple of months passed and I'm like, yo, this is not going to be as easy as I thought. Like, this is a skill. And then I'm learning about, like, yo, it takes 10,000 hours to master a skill. So I'm like, yo, I haven't even put in 100 hours. You mean to tell me it's going to take me 10,000 hours to master this skill? Sheesh. You know, now I'm talking to people about my business and a lot of people are telling me, no, they don't want to join my business. So I'm like, sheesh, bro, I thought this was going to be easy. I would have thought that everybody would want to learn how to trade and invest in crypto. But no, everybody's telling me it's not going to work, that I'm a failure. It's a scam. These things don't work. So now I'm starting to realize that this business is not as easy as I once thought. Remember, at the beginning, when I was at stage one, I was uninformed and I was optimistic. So I was excited about the business. But now that I'm in the business and I realize how much I got to study, how much I got to work, I got to build up my social media, I got to post content, I got to study, I got to invest, I got to do all these things. You start to realize that it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. Right? And here you get to the informed pessimism stage. Now, this is a very, very difficult stage to be in. And let me explain why. Because if you stay in this stage too long, what ends up happening is you'll reach the next stage, which is the valley of despair. Now, I don't want to talk about the valley of despair next. Let me stay here on stage two. But the thing is, you don't want to stay at this stage for too long. Because if you stay at this stage too long, what ends up happening is because of your negative thoughts. We talked about this on our last call on Wednesday, correct? Where we talked about the TEAR method, TEAR, where we said, yo, our thoughts control our emotions. Our emotions are going to determine our actions, and our actions are going to determine our results, right? We talked about this with the stick figure, and we said, hey, yo, if we're thinking negative, right? Remember, pessimism is thinking negative, right? So if you're thinking negative, then guess what? We're feeling negative. If we're feeling negative, then guess what ends up happening? Now we don't want to take the actions necessary anymore. If we're not taking the actions necessary, then guess what? We're not getting the results. And now what ends up happening is we're stuck in this cycle in our mind where we're not getting results, we're feeling bad about it, where all these things, we're not taking the actions. And that's what ends up happening to most people. I've seen this cycle happen, not hundreds of times, thousands of times within my business, especially in my business, network marketing, digital entrepreneurship. I've seen it thousands of times. You know why? Because think about it. People join my business as an example, right? And for anybody that doesn't know what I do, I know I don't really talk about these things because I like to keep these calls strictly just mindset, right? But for anybody that wonders what's the main thing that I do, like what's been my bread and butter over the years, I'm the founder of Alpha Society, right? Alpha Society is a community of people that have come together to learn and master the skills of making money online. So we teach people how to trade, we teach people how to invest in crypto, e-commerce, social media, travel hacking, online business, network marketing, the whole nine, right? So we teach people everything that has to do with making money online. So in the beginning, when I introduce somebody to my business, they come in and they're like, hell yeah, I love this. I want to be a digital entrepreneur. I want to make money online. I want to travel. I want to invest in crypto. I want to live an amazing life like you, Nano. So in the beginning, everybody starts off at stage one, uninformed optimism. But then what ends up happening is people get to stage two because a month passes, 2 months passes, and then they realize that, yo, this is not going to be as easy as I thought it was, right? And it wasn't that I made it sound too good to be true. It was just they realized, like, yo, to be a successful trader, you got to put time into it. To build a successful online business, you got to put time into it, right? They start to realize, like, yo, this is not as easy as I thought it was going to be, right? It's the same thing that happens with the morning routines, right? The morning routines. You guys could jump on this call. Let's say you're somebody that was new to a morning routine, and you could jump off this call and be like, yo, tomorrow, I'm going to start doing the morning routine that Nano's talking about. And you're excited about it. And I'm going to wake up early tomorrow. I'm going to get up at 6, 7 a.m. And I got to do what I'm going to do. But guess what happens then? A couple days pass, a couple weeks pass, and all those 6 a.m. wake ups now are catching up to you. Now you're tired. Now you're exhausted. Now you're having tough days at work. Maybe you're having arguments with your significant other. All these things are starting to happen now. And now you're realizing, like, yo, this morning routine is not as easy as Nano made it sound. He made it sound like it was going to be all butterflies and rainbows. But no, it's hard, man. I got to wake up early. I got to be on time every day. Even if I go to sleep late the night before, I still got to be up early in the morning. So now you're starting to become informed about what the opportunity is about. And naturally, our minds are thought. We're basically trained to think negative first and positive. So naturally, the first thing you're thinking is negativity. Man, this is not going to work for me. I'm not good enough. Maybe this is not meant for me. Maybe I should start looking into something else. You start to be very pessimistic about it. Remember, pessimistic, what does it say? Tending to see the worst aspects of things and believe that the worst will happen. Yo, what if I lose my money? What if I lose my money? What if I fail? What if this is not what's meant for me? Maybe this is not what God has for me in my path. I've seen people reach stage 2 and completely lose themselves. All right. I've seen people at stage 2 lose themselves because they didn't look at things from the positive perspective. They chose to look at it from the negative, right? They chose to look at the cup half empty instead of looking at the cup half full. This is important that we all understand this. All right, because guess what? We all experience this. Remember, these are the emotional cycles of change. We all experience this. When anything changes in our lives, we are going to experience these emotions. I'm telling you because I experienced these emotions. All right. I experienced this. As a matter of fact, I experienced this before I launched my retreat. True story. I was excited about launching my retreat. Boom, 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 boom. I'm excited about it. Yo, we're going to do it. We're going to pick this location and we're going to have a great retreat for 4 days. And because it was something new, because it was a change, I was excited about it. But then guess what? I reached stage 2. I'm like, yo, this is not going to be as easy as I thought it was going to be. I just thought I was going to be able to pick a place and that's it. But no, there's so much more than that, right? You realize now that everybody, majority of people pick the payment plan. Now you got to organize everything. Now you got to do all these different things. Now you got to put itineraries together. We're putting gift bags together. Now we're looking for keynote speakers that we got to put together. So now you're starting to realize that putting a retreat together is not as easy as I once thought it was going to be. But you see, because I understand the emotional cycles of change, I'm not looking at it from a pessimistic perspective. I'm able to skip stage 2 and go to stage 4, where I'm informed and I'm optimistic. Well, I'm not going to look at this from a negative perspective. I love this. I love the challenge. I love what I get to do here. This is a blessing. We're going to change so many lives with this amazing retreat. And I'm getting that amazing perspective. So I'm able to stay. You see that middle line, that little dash line in the middle? That's a beautiful line to be in, because you can go from stage 2 to stage 4. You can skip stage 3. We're going to talk about stage 3 now in a little bit. But I went from stage 2 to stage 4. You know why? Because I understood the emotional cycles of change. Because I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you guys that I didn't have a little bit of pessimism at some point where I told you guys, I actually came on this call publicly and told you guys that there was a little bit of myself that I doubted it, whether people were going to want to show up for it, and so on and so forth. And now there's more than enough people. Now I'm trying to figure out who's going to be able to come to this, right? So I went through it, but guess what? Because I understood, because I had the key word, awareness. I had awareness. This is the emotional cycles of change. This is new, right? Let's get optimistic now. Let's get informed with this. I was able to shift that, and I was able to skip stage 3. All right. But here's what happens, right? Most people, majority of people, if you're not aware of the emotional cycles of change, you're going to reach the level of stage 3, which is the valley of despair. I know you guys can't see it right now because my picture or my video, my little video box covers it. But basically what it says in stage 3 is called the valley of despair. Now, if you look up the definition of despair, right? The definition of despair from Google, it says the complete loss or absence of hope. The complete loss or absence of hope. That means that's it. You lost hope. Man, this is not for me. I don't think I could do this. I don't know if this relationship is going to be for me. This business is not for me. I quit. Most people, when they reach stage 3, they quit. This is the place where most people quit right here. This is where everybody quits, stage 3. This is where people quit right here. Anybody that you've ever known that has quit something that they did, they were at the valley of despair. They quit. They stopped going to the gym. They stopped doing the morning routine. They stopped building the business. I've seen so many dreams die at the valley of despair. So many people that came into my business and say, yo, Nano, I'm with you to the end, bro. They hit the valley of despair, no longer to be seen. So many people that came to me, bro, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help my family, bro. I'm with you to the end. We're going to run this business up. And guess what? The moment that valley of despair hit, they quit. Because the thing was that their thoughts, their emotions got the best of them. Life got the best of them. And let me tell you guys, I've been here before many times. I've been at the valley of despair a couple times in my life. But I just never quit while I was down there, because I know where I was at. Said, yo, right now I'm at the valley of despair. The valley of despair is a tough place to be, because the valley of despair, remember, you lost hope now. There's you lost an absence of all hope. So that business that you started, that you thought you were going to be successful in, now you have no hope in being successful in it. That relationship that you started, that you thought was going to be the girl that you married, the man that you married, whatever it is, now you've lost hope of that, right? That morning routine, that gym session, whatever it is, now you've lost hope. But the reason you even got to the valley of despair was because you got caught up at stage 2 for too long. Remember, if you stay stuck in a place for too long mentally, you basically dig yourself into a hole. If you realize it, remember look at the bottom where it says time. Time. What does time stand for, guys? What is the acronym for time? We all know this, but I just want you guys to repeat it one more time, just in case we have some people that don't know what time is. What's the acronym for time? Things I must experience. But remember, when you are in a state of negativity, when you're in a state of negativity, you're not experiencing positive things. You're experiencing negative things. So this is what happens. When you're in a state of pessimism at stage 2 and you're vibrating negativity, what happens in that business? Now, nobody's joining your business. Nothing is working out for you. Money starts to become an issue. It's like everything starts to work against you. And what happens is, remember, how we do one thing is how we do everything. Now, all of these things are starting to reflect in other areas in our lives. Now, negative things are happening with your family. Negative things are happening with your friends. Negative things are happening with your kids. Negative things are happening in your finances. Negative things are happening in your relationships. And now the negativity is literally bleeding into the other areas of your life. I've been here before, so I know what that feels like. Remember, things I must experience is time. So as time is passing, you're experiencing negativity after negativity. You guys ever heard the saying that says when it rains, it pours, or once it starts raining, it pours? Like, yo, like that's what happens to people. But the reason why it starts to pour, right, is because of your vibration of the mentality that you've been in. So you got to keep this in mind, right? I'm only giving you guys this perspective because I want you guys to understand this, right? From a negative and from a positive perspective, right? Because this is what happens to people. And if you ever wondered, yo, why are so many bad things happening to me back to back to back to back? It's because of your vibration. It's because of how you're feeling. Right? You've been in this stage for too long, and now because time is passing, you've attracted one thing after another, after another, after another, to keep you at this vibration that eventually you dig yourself into a hole. You dig yourself into a hole because of your thoughts, your actions, and your emotions. This is what happens right here, guys. I'm telling you. And then imagine if you're a part of a business, as an example, at this point you quit because life sucks. You don't have money. Things are happening in your family. I've seen this happen to so many people. People come to me all the time. I'm a mentor to a lot of people. So people come to me like, yo, I just need some time to get things right, Nano. My life is in shambles. My finances, my mental, my family, this. And I just say to myself, I just know, I'm like, yo, bro, you're at the valley of despair. You're at the valley of despair. Because I've been there. I tell them all the time, yo, if you quit, nothing is going to change. I need you to understand that. Quitting is not the solution. Stopping is not the solution. That's the thing. That's the biggest mistake we make, that we think that quitting is the option. Quitting is never the option. You got to fight. You got to fight when you're at the valley of despair. You dug yourself into that hole. You got to climb out of that hole. Right? You guys ever watch the movie The Dark Knight Rises? The Batman movie where he gets thrown in the hole when he loses to Bane, the big guy that defeats him. You guys ever watch that movie? That's a phenomenal movie. If you haven't watched that movie, right? When he gets thrown in that hole with everybody and he has to literally climb his way out, right? And he has to strengthen himself and he has to work on himself, for so long. If you never watched that movie, you should definitely watch that movie. There's so much symbolism behind it. But if you've never watched the movie, basically what happens is, let me see something real quick. Let me see if it allows me real quick. I want to show you guys something because it's better when you can see it. I don't know if I could show you guys this, so that's the thing. Because then they'll probably like they'll clip it. Because usually copyright. I would love to show you guys this, but I know that sometimes they'll end up taking this video down for copyright issues and stuff like that. That's what ends up happening. So here's what I'll do. I'll just copy the link and send it to you guys here, just so that we don't get it thing. So if you watch this video right here, that's the Dark Knight Rises. This is the video where he's actually preparing himself to climb out of the thing after he was defeated. Right, he was at the valley of despair there. If you watch that video, if you have some time after, you'll be able to gain a lot of perspective for it. But just to give anybody some context, you know, everybody knows Batman as a superhero, right? And he had a villain that basically defeated him. And when he defeated him, he threw him in this hole, right? And no one had ever climbed out of that hole. He was in the dark in that hole. And he has this conversation with this guy that has been there for years. And he starts to prepare. He starts working out. He starts doing everything. And basically the symbolism behind that, guys, is that when you're at the valley of despair, it's not the time to quit, right? It's the time to work on yourself, right? When Batman was at the valley of despair, he was working on himself. He was doing the work mentally, spiritually, physically to get himself ready to climb out of the hole that he dug himself into. Sometimes we got to remember, look, guys, if you're in a hole right now, you got to dig yourself out of it. You got to do the work to get yourself out of that hole. And anybody that's on this call that has gotten themselves out of that hole, they'll tell you that they had to put the work in, right, to get themselves out. I can tell you I got myself out of it. I'm pretty sure, you know, Michael, right, he's on this call. He just commented in the chat. I know he had to put in a lot of work to dig himself out of the holes that he was in. All right. This is the key right here. And here's the thing about stage 3. Here's what a lot of people don't know, right? Let me see if this allows me to draw on it. Edit. View. No, it doesn't let me draw. So what happens is people quit, right? And then what happens is when you quit, then people end up going back over here to stage 1. And what ends up happening is people live in these stages right here. They live in between stage 1 and 3 over and over and over again. This is where they live because they quit. And then guess what happens? They go and try to start something else new. Now they're informed. They're uninformed, optimistic. They're excited about the next thing. And then they realize like, yo, this next thing is not as easy as I thought it was. And then they hit the valley of despair again. I've seen so many people. You see, remember, the thing with me is I've done the same thing for the last 8 years. I've never done anything else. I've done the same exact thing for the last 8 years. So because I've done the same exact thing for the last 8 years, I've watched so many other people that have quit what I've done, go do something else. And then that doesn't work out. Then they're doing something else. That doesn't work out. Then they do something else. That doesn't work out. And they are on their maybe 4th or 5th or 6th try in business. Now, not saying that they're not successful and that they're failures. Like, look, at the end of the day, I get it. I get it. What I do is not for everybody. And everybody has to find their way. And I always pray for those people. And I pray that those individuals find their way. Always. Right? I always pray for these people. And I never wish nobody bad because at the end of the day, you know, if I was in a business that didn't align with my morals or didn't align with where I wanted to go in life, then, you know, obviously I'm going to leave the business and I'm going to go somewhere else. And sometimes you get caught in that, right? But the thing is, people don't ever give themselves the time to let things unfold, right? You got to give yourself time to let things unfold, even with yourself. You know, if we were to take business out of this, if we were to take relationships out of this, and we were to just say, yo, you know what? Let's just talk about us changing ourselves. Let's just talk about personal development right now, real quick. We all go through these exact same stages, right? Where we jump into it and we're like, yo, you know what? Perfect example. Beginning of the year, we say, yo, this year we're going to change. At the beginning of the year, 2025, we said January 1st, yo, New Year's resolutions. I'm excited about the new year. I'm going to start going to the gym. I'm going to start reading a book a month. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You're uninformed, optimistic. Then a couple of weeks pass, a couple of months pass. Guess what happens? You start to realize that it's not going to be as easy as you thought it was. Going to the gym every day is not as easy as you thought it was. Reading all these books, going to all these events, doing all these things is not going to be as easy as you thought it was going to be. You start to realize it. All right. And then guess what? You hit the valley of despair. You lose hope. You start to lose hope. Some people may be at the valley of despair right now on this call because of 2025. 2025 may have put some people at the valley of despair. It happens, guys. You need to understand. Remember, when you become aware of the information, everything changes. This is why they say the most important thing is awareness. Awareness is the most important thing, because if you have awareness of it, you can change it. All right. All of us, we experience this with ourselves. We experience this with our businesses. We experience this with our relationships. We experience this with anything that requires us to change. We experience this. We experience this. You know how many times I've experienced this with personal development, with my trading journey, with my network marketing business, with relationships that I've been in. When I started my routine, I experienced this, guys. We all do, right? Put a 2 in the chat if you've experienced what I've been talking about for the last couple of minutes, right? If you have some kind of experience with any of it, whether it was in a relationship, whether it was in a business, whether it was with trading, whether it was with crypto, whether it was with a skill in sports. For my people that have played sports, we have also all experienced this as well. It's part of it. These are the emotional cycles of change. We all experience these emotions and these cycles when we're changing, when we're wanting to do more with ourselves. This is important. Okay. And Jasmine's like, I have a sports injury. I don't think you're at the valley of despair, though. I don't think you've lost hope for rugby. I think you love it still. Regardless, I think you skipped the valley of despair. You're just going through some challenges. That's all. But look, Kristen in the chat, she's like, "Yo, I'm experiencing it right now. I'm experiencing it right now. Now, but here, and look, Kristen, I'm gonna talk to you because you had the vulnerability and the courage to speak up, right? And I know that because you said that this is gonna relate to a lot of people. Kristen, right now, you need to be working on yourself more than you've ever worked on yourself. Remember the movie that I just said, The Dark Knight Rises. You should watch that movie. I don't know if you're into like Batman and stuff like that, but you'll get a lot of symbolism from it, because right now what you need to be doing is working on you, strengthening your faith, strengthening your mindset, strengthening your discipline, getting in the gym, reading the books, listening to the audios, building that relationship with God, right? Right now, more than ever, Kristen, you need to be working more on you than you've ever worked on you, because you are the only person that can help yourself climb out of the hole that you're in. There's no one is coming to save you. Remember that. No one is coming to save you. Nano can't even save you. Nano can't even put his hand down. Nano can't even throw the rope down to save you. I can't do that for you. You have to be the one that develops the strength, the wisdom, the discipline, the encouragement for you to get up from the hole that you're in. And you have to get to the point where you say, yo, you know what, Nano? You're right. Enough is enough. I'm going to get in the gym. I'm going to read the books. I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to do the work. I'm going to build that relationship with God. I'm going to do what's required. And if it takes me 30 days, 60 days, 100 days, whatever it takes me, I'm going to do it. But I'm getting out of this hole that I'm in right now. That's what you need to be doing right now, Kristen. Don't quit. Remember, quitting is not an option at the valley of despair. You don't quit at the valley of despair. That's not an option. You got too many people counting on you. You got family counting on you. You got people that are looking up to you. Your future kids, future family members, future business partners, future people are counting on you. to keep going. Imagine if I would have quit, Kristen, we wouldn't be on this call right now. Mornings with Nano wouldn't even be a reality. And you guys were people that I met later on down the road. I was experiencing the valley of despair 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Imagine if I would have quit 6 years ago. Look at everything that would have not happened for me. Look at all the people that would have never been able to have been impacted. You think I would have been able to receive that testimonial from my brother Michael Howard this weekend, from my brother Lucky? I would have never been able to experience that if I would have quit. I would have never been able to make it this far. So just think about that. Think about that. Yo, Nano didn't quit, and look at how much he was able to create for himself. Look at how much he's been able to do. Forget about Nano. Look at how much he's been able to do for others because he didn't quit. And let me tell you, I had the thoughts of quitting. I'm like, yo, this is hard, man. Like, sheesh, this is tough. Should I quit? Should I just stop? Should I just hang it up? Quitting is not an option. It doesn't matter how hard it gets. It could get so hard to the point where you're right there, a tip from quitting, but you never, ever, ever quit. I'm telling you, you'll turn it around. You will turn it around. And I don't know who that message was. I know it was for you, Kristen, but I know some other people needed to hear that as well. So I appreciate you for being vulnerable, because there's some other people on this call that definitely needed to hear that message. You never quit, because guess what happens now? If you don't quit at the valley of despair, now you go to stage 4. You go to stage 4, Kristen. And Kristen, you're going to be at informed optimism now, where now you realize, like, yo, I made it out of the bottom. Yo, I climbed out of the hole. Now you have belief in yourself. Now you like, yo, I'm going to the top with this. I'm going to the top with this, because now guess what? You have belief. You have confidence. The valley made you. The valley developed you into a better version of yourself. The valley gave you the strength. The valley helped you build a relationship with God. The valley put you in a position now that you have an incredible amount of belief, discipline, and confidence in yourself that's it. You needed the valley. As a matter of fact, we all need the valley. As a matter of fact, let me give you guys the reality of it. I wouldn't be the man and the leader that I am today if it wasn't for the valleys of despair that I've been in. The valleys of despair is what creates us. You can't escape it. You can't run away from it. You see, today, you guys may look at me today, and like I just told you guys, I was able to skip stage 2 to stage 4. But you know why I'm able to skip through that? It's because I've been at the valley so many times, right? I've been at the valley so many times that I've already learned from the valley. Not saying that I'll never go through a valley ever again, because I know that there's still more valleys on this journey. Let me tell you that. The valleys, they're here always. The valleys are not going to stop. There's peaks and there's valleys. So not saying that the valleys are not going to stop, but I'm saying I can skip through them every once in a while because I've been here before. I know what this is like. But when you're starting off your journey, those valleys are what makes you, guys. Embrace those valleys. There's going to be peaks, but there's going to be valleys. It's called the law of rhythm. It goes up, it comes down. That's life. Right? That's life. One day you're up, one day you're down. One day you're at the top of the company, one day you're at the bottom of the company. You know, that's how life is. And then what ends up happening is you stay at stage 4, you build that confidence, you build that discipline, you build that belief and that faith enough, and you stay in that vibration long enough, in that positive vibration long enough. And guess what happens? You hit stage 5, which is success and fulfillment, which is what we're all looking for. Here it is. That's what happens, guys. This is how it works. You stay at it long enough. I remember when I got out of the valley. I remember getting out of the valley, man. When I climbed out of that hole. I always give you guys a story of back in 2019 when I was in a tough place in my life, and I did my morning routine consistently every day for 100+ days. I did it consistently. I was at the valley then. I started doing that routine. I remember it was March of 2019. And I did it all of March. I did it all of May. I mean, all of April, all of May, all of June. But nothing had changed. July, I had my breakthrough. By July, I was climbing out of the hole. In July, I had reached stage 4. In October, I had my 6-figure income. So I went from being broke to making over $10,000 a month in a matter of 6 months. I share that with you guys because I know it can happen to you guys as well. Let me see. Somebody said in the chat, last year from May through December was one of the hardest valleys of my life that I wanted to take my life. Wow. If you see me now, you would have never guessed it. I am stronger now and I am better. Wow, Dariana. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Somebody on Instagram literally shared with us that last year, from May through December, that's a total of 7 months, was one of the hardest valleys of her life. And today, you would have never guessed it. She's stronger and she's better than she's ever been. The valleys are there to grow you, make you better. She wanted to take her life last year. Thank God you didn't, right? And let me just make this disclaimer right here on this call. Guys, if you ever get that low in life, please never think that taking your life is an option. Never. We need you here more than ever. And if you ever need to talk to me, call me on Instagram, blow me up, find a way to get my number. Whatever you do, just know that you got a family here. Jump on Mornings with Nano the next morning. We'll pray for you. We'll be here for you. It is not an option. Never, ever, 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 ever make that an option. You know that I'm here Monday through Friday. You know you jump on Mornings with Nano Monday through Friday on YouTube and on Instagram, 10:30 a.m. Nano's going to be here. You jump on it. You go in the chat. Yo, Nano, I'm having suicidal thoughts. I needed to talk to you after Mornings with Nano, bro. Can you call me? And you will 100% know that I will call you. I will not allow that to happen. And I'm just saying that just because you never know. People fight very, very silent battles alone where I know what that's like. And I've had people who have came to me, right? I've had people that have come to me and told me, yo, because of Mornings with Nano, I had suicidal thoughts. And, you know, because I jumped on every morning and you talked to us and you encouraged us, you know, I'm here today. So I just want to give you guys that testimony and give you guys that open door, right? Turn to God. God got you. We're all here. All right. It is so important, fam. So, guys, that's the key. You stay here long enough. You stay at Informed Optimism long enough. You'll get to stage 5, which is where we all want to go. Put a 5 in the chat box if you want success, if you want fulfillment, if you want peace, if you want everything that you've been asking for. Put a 5 in the chat box, because what it's going to take is going to take this cycle of change. That's what it's going to take. All right, guys. So with that being said, that is the training for today. I wanted to finish today's training powerful, and I wanted to give you guys some perspective and also give you guys a lot of love and encouragement and let you guys know that we're all going to stage 5. Like, there is literally zero doubt in mind that we're all going to be at stage 5. As a matter of fact, we are already there, because there is here. We are already there. We just need to become the people that are deserving of stage 5. Stage 5 is already ours. We already have success and fulfillment. Success and fulfillment is meant for us. We just need to become the people deserving of that success and that fulfillment, family. All right. And you know what it's going to take? It's going to take work. It's going to take work. Work. Because I'm telling you, that is the game changer. All right, guys. So with that being said, guys, I'm so excited. That wraps up today's call. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your days. If you guys are not following me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram. My 2 Instagrams are Long Live Nano and the Mornings with Nano page. Follow those 2, because I'm going to be dropping a lot of information over the next couple of months on, you know, everything from the retreat to future events and mentorship and so much more. So we're building up the Instagram, myself and Jasmine. We're building up the Instagram as well. Obviously as well, the retreat is basically almost sold out. I got to finish just a couple more phone calls. I'm doing my best to finish them all this weekend. so that we can close out all the submissions and we can start up the group chat for everybody as well, so we can get that going. So I'm pretty much 75% done with almost every single phone call. I'm going to be making the remaining phone calls this weekend. My goal is to have everything ready and done and submitted by Monday, so that we can get everything locked in with that. And then we're excited about that. And basically, guys, with that being said, I'm so excited. I'm so blessed. Tap in. We got amazing things happening. If you guys want to be a part of future retreats, join our Telegram chat. Jasmine, if you could drop the Telegram chat link. If you guys want to be a part of any future retreats, I know that some people may not be able to make it to this one. But if you can make it to this one, I'm planning on doing at least 3 retreats in 2026. Okay, my goal is to do minimum 2. I'm gonna push for 3, but minimum 2 retreats in 2026. Okay, so if you want to be a part of future retreats, just go in there, just be a part of it. As I'm dropping updates in there, you guys will be able to stay up to date. But obviously, we're gonna be able to share this in here. And then with that being said, guys, that's really everything. I have a great event here in Atlanta. Is anybody here on Mornings with Eno from Atlanta? Do we have anybody right now that is in the ATL area? If you are, please reach out to me. Please reach out to me. Let's meet. Come to the Airbnb. Let's chop it up. Let's go grab some lunch, some dinner. Like, hit me up, fam, if you're in the ATL area, right, guys? So I'm gonna do a little prayer for us, and then we'll wrap it up right there. Quick prayer. I'm just gonna say thank you today. Father God, today we are so thankful to be able to wake up on this beautiful Friday morning. We are so grateful for the amazing week that we've had that's been filled with so many breakthroughs and so much wisdom and just everything that you've done for us this week. We're just so excited about it all, Father. So today we just want to say thank you for your love. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your protection. Thank you for all that you're doing for us each and every single day. We're so blessed and so grateful. We see all the work that you're doing for us, and we just want to say that our hearts are filled with gratitude. We love you so much. We appreciate you so much. And everything that we do each and every single day, we do it for your praise and for your glory, God. We don't want to take none of the credit. All of it goes back to you, God. We don't want to ask for anything today. We just want to say thank you. Thank you. And I also want to send a quick prayer to Angelica's friend. What was her name? One more time, Angelica. I got it right here. Give me one sec. I want to send a prayer to my sister, Carla. I pray that you keep your healing hand over her and that you guide her in the tough time that she's currently going through, because we're all a family here and we want to make sure that we keep our family close, healthy, and happy throughout this journey, Father. So we love you so much. Thank you for everything that you do for us. Everything is for your praise and your glory. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. Prayers to all that needed out there, fam. Prayers, fam. So God bless you guys. I love you guys. God is the greatest. And sometimes we don't got to ask for anything. Sometimes we just need to say thank you. God is protecting us. God is loving on us. And God is giving us everything that we need. He's illuminating the path so that we can all win and we can all become successful. So I love y'all. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys on Monday for another episode of Mornings with Nano. God bless you guys. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you, fam. Have a great